Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. Today we have a video that I've actually been anticipating for a while, as in late December a sovereign citizen by the name of Trellis Lane came into Judge Simpson court and started spewing his sovereign citizen nonsense. Judge Simpson just ended the Zoom hearing right there and scheduled it for an in-person hearing now. There's something you should know before we get started. Judge Simpson is one of the coolest and most relatable judges in Michigan, as long as you're playing by the same rules that everybody else is playing by, but there's absolutely no chill for asshats and cavatards who like to take their edible highlighters and color way outside the lines. So let's begin court.
Court does call the case. Peninsula Place versus, is it Trellis Lane? Here.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. David Defendant here on behalf of the plaintiff.
Sir, your name?
Sorry, Judge. Trellis Lane.
All right, this is the date for non-jury trial, and this is a non-payment of rent case. How much is the plaintiff claim is owing?
Your Honor, the total balance at this time is $3,320.17 plus court costs of $161. $3,320.17.
All right.
Hey, Your Honor,
Sir, of that amount, is there any that you believe that you owe?
no.
Of course you don't, but to be fair, I have yet to meet a sovereign citizen or American state national that feels like they should have to pay for the goods and services they consume.
You were going to say something.
I was going to ask to object what he was about to say as far as about the numbers. About saying what I owe, but you already answered the question. Ask me the question.
And
I
Mr.
can break
Friend,
down that amount if you want me to, Your Honor.
pardon?
I can break down the amount if you'd like me to.
Just one moment, we'll get to that. Sir, can I ask you, I received the documents from you. Is there a reason why you don't think you owe that amount?
Because it's already been paid, Your Honor. Far as reporting adverse information about a co-signer Act 211 of 1989. Peninsula Place is trying to help me liable as the co-signer when I have an interest and a signature and I'm a natural person. So they're trying to hold liable.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Okay.
Just so that I have the background on it. You reside in this unit that's at, I think, 315B.
Correct.
At 1000. You reside there.
That's my place of vote.
Well, you live there, right?
Depends what you're talking about. I'm acting as a consumer. So, far as like my, they're on special appearance, and my estate stays there. But as far as a natural man, I don't have no place.
Well, don't worry, the natural man won't be homeless and alone for much longer as a state as the rest of us like to call hasn't been paying rent either, and will be joining you at the lunch dumpster after court.
As far as my estate and my...
Okay, so when whoever is in this courtroom leaves here to go to what they would call home, where does this person that's sitting here go?
To my place of vote, Your Honor.
Which is where?
A Peninsula Place.
Okay, at the 315B.
Correct.
All right, that's what I need to know. Okay. Do you have a ledger?
And I'll give Mr. Lane a copy also.
Thank you.
And Mr. Fantera, this would be your witness, is that correct? Okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we have her and Mr. Lane sworn in, please?
Thank you.
Yeah, one next.
Right hand. Swear affirm the testimony you're about to give.
I do.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Could I give you a real quick context on that?
Yes, please.
We had a previous case last summer where Mr. Lane received Sarah funds. And when we had I have a case number, I have a copy of the unsigned copy of the COD. That was entered on September 9th. SOS paid his rent through September, and it left a small balance of, I think about $119, which we waived. So the balance, even though it doesn't show it on there because we didn't actually get the SOS check till sometime later, his rent at the end of September was $0.
Got it.
So the total balance that's on there is 5 months of rent at $513, water and sewer bills, electric bills. There's not even any late fees, and then there's 161 in court costs. So I just want to clarify that, in fact, none of this goes back past September 30th. In fact, I don't know if you remember, we actually, when we had the previous case, Mr. Lane had sued Peninsula Place seeking the return of all money he paid forever. And he denied that he owed money, but simultaneously applied for Sarah, and he denied he applied for Sarah. You verified with probably Aaron at the time that he had applied for Sarah. He ended up getting Sarah funds. He would not sign the COD, and then you basically gave him a choice. I'll enter the COD, or we'll have a trial and I'll give you a judgment. But it sounds like he's raising some of the same stuff now that he attempted to raise.
Your Honor, free to speak?
Go ahead, sir.
So, Your Honor, when I applied for, so at first I didn't know what I was applying for.
Would you apply for it? That's like the absolute worst offense you can possibly make. And we all know that you're lying since you moved in immediately after signing the contract, showing that you knew full well that the contract and exchange of goods would be legal tender on your end and a place to lay your empty-shelled embarrassment on theirs.
So when I applied for Sarah funding, I ended up giving my principal information, which was my name, my date of birth, and my social security number. Basically, I'm here today saying that I gave my principal to Peninsula Place and I've never received any consideration.
Your Honor, I don't understand what that means.
Judge Simpson is not playing around today, so you're not going to get off telling him or anybody watching this video that money does not exist, especially when all of us would give a significant portion of ours to grant you and your fellow troglodytes the deportation that you deserve.
I don't know what that means.
All right, now, everybody needs to pay very close attention because the sovereign citizen rental scheme is about to be laid out right in front of you in full glory, and not by a soft heart who's trying to get you to buy into their scam, but by a lawyer who's representing someone who is actively being scammed.
Are you Trellis Lane? That's a yes or no. Because I'll tell you, if you are, then we'll go ahead with the trial. If you're not Trellis Lane, then I'm going to give them a judgment by default because Trellis Lane hasn't shown.
I'm here on special appearance.
No, you can't do that. You are not an attorney at law because you can't appear for somebody else. So my question is, and I'll ask it again, are you Trellis Lane?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. So, Mr. Lane, October of 2022, did you pay rent to the landlord?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and how did you pay that?
I'm paying with my credits that's on file. So I sent instructions back in May, basically to get my account zero every month.
You do what?
I sent instructions back in May, then I sent another one to December to the CEO.
The CEO of what?
American Campus Communities. Saying it right. So he's seen my email, so he's aware of what's going on. Basically, like I say, I'm looking for consideration. I have not been getting no consideration, no adequate consideration.
Well, you get adequate consideration for the contract and any payment by virtue of the fact that you have a residence. So I don't think consideration is even an issue.
But Your Honor, I have several questions.
Well, you can go ahead and ask your questions, but I don't know. Let me just ask this. October 2022, how did you pay your rent?
I paid with my endorsed, took the bill, I endorsed it.
Did you give them cash?
We don't have,
We being whom?
I'm saying it's a credit system, Your Honor.
It's a what?
Credit system. We don't.
So who's in charge of this credit system?
So who's in charge?
Surely.
I mean, we haven't had money since 1933, the Emergency Banking Act.
We being whom? Who are you talking about when you say we haven't had money? Who is we?
As far as like the United States haven't had money since 19.
Oh, they definitely have, and I spent my share.
I'm sorry, Judge, but unless you brought your Black's Law Dictionary Narnia edition, you're not going to be able to understand any of that nonsense right here.
So, I don't know. You're saying you gave them credit.
Yes.
In what form did you give them credit in the month of October 2022?
Then credit, I took the bill, which they give me a bill every month, which is a statement. I take the statement. If you want to, I can show you what I'm doing.
I know what he's referring to. Can I show you?
Yeah.
Well, that's because it's all in your head and you haven't been able to locate your brain for years. Now you do not have a trust account with the Treasury. And believe me when I say there's nobody invested in you as a baby.
Well, show him, and then
I got copies for him. Here's what he's getting, Your Honor. We have a third-party billing company called Zigo. And so what they do is every month they bill the utilities. So he gets this bill, and then you'll see at the bottom what he writes is pay to the order of Peninsula Place. And so what he's taken, so for example, the top one says pay to the order of Peninsula Place $662.12. That amount is his monthly rent plus the $123.12 in utilities that are at the top. There's 3 of these that I've attached. So what he does is he cuts off the bottom and he mails that in as with instructions to pay to the order of Peninsula Place as if that's a check.
I don't have this marked as plaintiff's exhibit and 2. The ledger being 1. But Mr. Lane, you have a copy of what I've marked as plaintiff's exhibit 2. Is what Mr. Fantera described, is that correct? Is that what you do?
Yes, I'm accepting the credits that's given to me, and I'm transferring to that.
Who's giving you this credit? They who?
So Peninsula Place, so in the beginning, when I signed up with Peninsula Place, I gave my principal information. So those payments are supposed to come to me as credit. So
what payments?
The payments that's coming every month. So those payments, they're trying to hold me liable for it, and I'm taking the credits that I'm receiving and dishing it back to them, to Peninsula Place.
Who's giving you credit?
You said who's giving me credit?
Yeah.
I have credit, Your Honor. I have a security interest.
In what?
And this so-called contract with Peninsula Place.
Okay. But who's giving you credit? Young man, you keep using these terms, payment, credit, and it seems to me as I'm listening to you that you're using them improperly. So my question is, have you paid anything to the plaintiff in US dollars or anything that evidences US dollars?
No, I haven't paid in US dollars.
Or anything evidencing US dollars? Like a check, credit card, anything like that?
So this is,
No, that's a yes or no.
can you repeat the question, Your Honor?
Have you, let me just break it apart so we get it real clear. Have you paid for the months of October 2022, November 2022, December 2022, January 2023, or February of 2023? Have you paid to anything to Peninsular Place in US dollars?
No, Your Honor.
Have you paid anything to them that is evidence of an account which holds US dollars?
Yes, Your Honor.
What? And what account is it attached to? You better be careful about answering my question. Because if you're telling me that you gave them or paid them something that evidences an account that can access US dollars, show it to me.